entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay. Welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections for elevating your business. Welcome to Getting the Edge with Kelly Wilson. And here's your host, Kelly Wilson.
Welcome to Getting the Edge. I'm your host, Kelly Wilson. Thank you so much for being with us today. Getting the Edge is a product of Edge Media Hub. Ultimately, we are entrepreneurs dedicated to growth and excellence. And our niche and specialty is to share the stories about the people behind the businesses and share your why. We all have a story to share, and it's my passion to find that within you and share that with everyone that will listen. And again, we can all grow and learn together. So please check us out online. Look at everything that we have to offer. All the previous shows over the last 6 to 7 years are there. We have over 100 shows of 56 minutes, and just every topic and that you could dream of is there. Also, please consider purchasing a copy of the latest issue of Edge Business Magazine. This is our second annual celebration of women, featuring 10 phenomenal, amazing overcomers and high achievers that have just done so many great things. And I am a very inspired woman as it is, and I have the opportunity to sit with women like this, and it puts me into overdrive. But so many great stories, so definitely check them out. You can see the free versions and read those online, or you can purchase a copy or subscribe for all three. So our event, we've actually held off until September 29th. So save the date, September 29th, 6 to 8 p.m. You'll have more information coming out soon, and tickets will start to be available. But September 29th, 6 to 8, that'll be our first event and Edge Night since February of 2020. So it's been a long time in, and we can't wait to come back out in the community and create our magical evenings that we've been known to do. So again, so much information is online. Please check it out, edgemediahub.com, or you can email us at info@edgemediahub.com. So thankful to our Getting the Edge sponsors and our overall annual Patriarch partners, which would be All Trust Insurance, Visit Tampa Bay, Pilot Bank, and USF Muma College of Business. We wouldn't be here without your support, so thank you very much. I'm always excited about sharing stories and finding out all I can about others, and I always look for triggers within us that have set us on certain paths that then really ultimately lead us to where we are today or who we become. So I'm looking forward to finding out more about this individual. Welcome Thaddeus Bullard to the show. Thank you, Thaddeus, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're such a giver, and you do so much in the community, and we have many mutual friends. And I've had the amazing Tim Marks, on, and Metropolitan Ministries, and he's such an awesome soul. It's just, he's such a good guy. He fits that organization. I talk about that often, how some of these individuals, are gravitated to these amazing places. And then, it's just, so many of them had corporate lives ahead of time, but they had a calling for more. And it's just beautiful that they've pursued that and ended up representing these amazing organizations that not only impact all these great people, but they have these leadership styles, that promote, just wealth of knowledge, and for each individual to be their best selves, and it's great. So you've partnered up with a lot of those organizations.
Yeah, Tim is, I'd like to consider one of my closer friends, not just because of what he's done from a philanthropic standpoint, but also just what he stands for as a human being and a man. Great family man. His wife Valerie is awesome. He just had a couple of grandkids, so he's getting old. And,
I have grandchildren. Wait a minute. Yeah, you're not old once you have a grandchild.
You're not
just
old,
want to put that out there.
Yeah, so. You're not old, but he's showing his age more.
I'm just giving you a hard time. Yeah, but, for sure.
Obviously, the work that he's been able to do with so many generous supporters and sponsors over the years with Metropolitan Ministries is literally second to none in our region. And I'm very proud to be partnered with him and Metropolitan Ministries, along with other great organizations that we have here in our city, which makes this area so much better when you have leaders like Tim Marks, like a Thomas Mance at Feeding Tampa Bay, being at the helm, but also showing like pure excitement and joy about the job every single day.
Passion for the
Yeah.
individuals. I mean, there's empathy there.
And
It's not just a
there's dignity.
job.
They
Right,
lead
yeah,
with
yeah.
dignity and they treat people with dignity. And that was one of the drawing points with us for our friendship. You know, of course I respect the work and I respect what they've been able to build over the years, but it's just the dignity that they treat people with. And that's ultimately what got me into the position I'm in today, is people treating me with dignity. And I've never forgotten that, and I'll never forget that.
Well, I think those different things, like I talk about pieces of a puzzle, you know, of our lives, and different things that happen, if we allow that to happen, you know, will take us to different heights, you know, that were unknown. Every time a door shuts, you know, one opens, and you know, it's just so many different ways. It's a mindset as well, you know. It could be a 70% chance of rain, but right, it could be 30% sunny. I mean, you're always trying to focus on the lesson to be learned, or the meaning behind it, or, you know, the positivity of it. Well, what is your story? Like, where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Boynton Beach, Florida. I went to high school in Live Oak, Florida. I ended up going to Live Oak because I went to a place called the Florida Sheriff's Boys Ranch up in Live Oak, Florida. I was a kid that was labeled a kid that would be dead or in jail by the time I was 16. I was born to a mother that was 12 years old. She was raped at 11, had me at 12 years old. And, you know, we grew up in poverty, and there was a lot of issues, obviously, with her being not even a teenage mother at the time.
Oh my goodness, so like you were raised by her then?
Yeah, for the first part of my, until I was 12 years old. Yeah, wow. And so
I mean, I was a mom at 18.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, I lost a lot of my childhood in a sense, and I was only 18.
Right.
So I mean,
yeah, so
okay,
I didn't
wow.
know any of that until I got to the Boys Ranch, and I was doing really well up there. You know, I had a conversation at 12 years old. I was getting ready to get kicked off of the Boys Ranch because I kept fighting, and just signed a contract, you know, saying that I wouldn't get into any more fights, or I understood that I would be sent back home to Boynton Beach. And 30 minutes after I signed the contract, I got into a fight. And so they
have you always been larger? I mean, like a bigger guy?
I was skinny. Yeah, I was
But
very
like,
skinny.
so were people like almost challenging? You know, is that
Yeah,
why
I
you
mean,
think you fought? I got into more fights?
Well, challenging. When I was home in Boynton, that was a challenge. But it was also, I was getting bullied as well, and because I wore real thick glasses. You know, I wore broken glasses. You know, because my mom couldn't afford when we broke glasses playing sports, or if I got into a fight and broke my glasses, somebody stumped on my glasses, to get another pair. So I'd either have to tape them up, or you know, not wear them at all. Well, me not wearing them obviously impacted the way that I dealt with my schoolwork, and made me a very underperforming student. And I was never a kid that was a dumb kid. You know, I just didn't care. Then I was told that I'll be going to jail and this
So
and that. And
you were following your
that.
path that they were saying that
Yeah.
you were meant to follow, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So going to the Boys Ranch, you know, it was one. It was probably the greatest blessing for our family, because of the fact that it caused and created separation. Which, you know, just because I was at the Boys Ranch, my mom was still receiving services back home, counseling and things like that. Some of which I still don't think she's fully addressed. The trauma that she went through in her childhood, which is, I mean, I understand, you know, it was very traumatic. But we all, at some point, have to get to a point in our lives where we don't allow others or negative situations to impact who we really are.
Where we kind of take hold of it, own it, and become more of a victor versus a victim.
Well, sometimes you can't take.
It's tough.
Sometimes you can't take ownership. You know,
Well,
I hear that all the time. I hear people saying, "Own it, own it, own it." But you know, it's just like people asking a question to a kid that's getting in trouble. You know, what's wrong with you, or asking somebody what's wrong with them. Not very often, you know. I
guess acceptance is more. I don't know. It's not own. I mean, but we have to come to terms with ourselves when tragedy happens to be able to move on.
No, I understand that, but for some, moving on is easy. For some others,
Yeah.
moving on is very
Right.
difficult. They don't know what that means.
Right.
It's just, and so what I was getting to is that sometimes people say, "What's wrong with you? Hey, what's wrong with you? Hey, what's wrong with that kid?" Nobody ever asks what happened to you.
Right.
And so the reason why they may be underperforming, or the reason why they may be
The why behind it all.
Yeah, it's the trauma. It's things that happened to them long before you or I even came into the picture. And a lot of times when the systems that are set up to help people, they fail because they're going by a cookie cutter approach, and we're all different individuals. The Boys Ranch, for me, Mr. Minogue took a separate route to help me get to the point where I am today. First thing he told me was, he asked me the question, why is it that you think you get into trouble all the time? And I said, I don't know, man, I'm just a bad kid. I had my head down, I was getting ready to get sent home. I signed a contract, I knew what things would be. And he told me to lift my head up. He said, there's no such thing as a bad kid. And I said, how can you say that? I've been told I'd be dead or in jail by the time I was 16. I'm getting in trouble. I'm getting ready to get sent back home. And he said, well, I'm not going to send you home. I know I'm going to piss a lot of people off. But I'm going to tell you something, and I want you to believe it. And he said, I love you and I believe in you. Now, a lot of people told me that they loved me, but then turned right around and abused me, beat me, cursed me, etc. But nobody had ever said anything about believing in me to do anything. It was always complete opposite. I would never graduate from high school, too dumb to go to college, too uncoordinated to play sports, and that I'll be dead or in jail by the time I was 16. Well, I've always had a very rebellious spirit. You're not going to tell me what to do. You're not going to tell me how to do it.
You must be a Taurus.
I am a Taurus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it fuels you.
Yeah, and I took all that same rebellion, and I'm still that same guy today. I just turned it into a positive. All right, cool. You say I won't ever graduate from high school. I'll prove you different. And then I got to the point where, and that's where I'm at now. Like I don't have to prove anybody wrong. I just continue proving God right, because
you don't have to prove anything to anybody. Yeah,
no,
being a single, I decided to be pregnant. I didn't decide to be. Things happen in life. But being a pregnant 17-year-old, it's my mother's, which we all have our own dysfunctions, right? But every one of them said, if you have this child, you'll be on welfare your entire life. Your life is over. I mean, they said I was shit, and it's that I was like, all right, damn it, just watch. Just watch. And I've never been one of those talkers either. Like I just silently, I'll be the underdog in the background doing my thing, because those that continue to talk about what I'm going to do and everything else are the ones that never actually get anything done. So I just say, watch me. And I think I finally, though, a few years ago, you get to a certain point where internally you're like, okay, I don't, release. I don't need to prove anything to anybody. I mean, I think that did fuel me and got me going so far, right? But now you have an internal confidence, and just like only God can judge me now. I mean, and I've always felt that my path is, which is one thing my mother and no one understood. It was bigger than myself. But no, people don't. When they can't see what your vision is or believe, I think half the time they couldn't do something, so they discourage you from doing it, or jealousy in a sense where they don't want to see you accomplish something, so they discourage you from doing it. I talk about my books I read and write all the time, but the 4 Agreements, have you read it? I mean, it's so powerful, but the 4 Agreements, he talks about, and it's so simple, but the first is be true to your word, have integrity. And, if you say you're going to do something, do it. If not, just communicate, but I think people try to be at peace, but if you have all these lies and deceit and things out there that your soul is upset with after all this time, you might not know what's going on inside, but that's why. I mean, you can't be at peace. Anyway, the second is, do not take anything personally, because like you said, it could be years of trauma and things that people are dealing with, and they could lash out at you and say something, and it has nothing to do with you at the moment. It's what they're dealing with. So, I had down, but even, never make assumptions, never assume anything. Never, just ask questions. If you have a question, ask. And the fourth, which took me over the top and gave me what I needed, was just do your best. just do your best. And, you know, it had this story in it that I share often, but anyway, just about, because I always thought that I needed to work 17 hours a day. And I mean, I think there is a time that we do, because when you're trying to make things happen, you gotta put the work in and wear all the hats till you get to a certain point that you can farm off. But anyway, you know, the book, he talks about this master or it's a man that's suffering from his own, just anguish and worry and I think disrest, just from deceit and lies and whatever he's done in his life. But so he wants to transcend. He goes to this Buddhist temple and says, Master, if I meditate in 5 hours a day, like how long will it take me to transcend? And the master replies and said, if you meditate, 5 hours a day, maybe 10 years. And, wanting to do better, he says, okay, well, what if I meditate, 10 hours a day? How long will it take? And the master replied, 20 years. And this was huge for me, but he said, because like, why? Why would it take me longer if I do it more? And because he said, if you can do the work in 2 hours and still be effective and live your purpose in a sense, but if you spent 8 hours, you would just be overwhelmed and you'd be resentful and we're here to enjoy life and live and love and share, and do good and help others find the light in their path and plant seeds, of hope. And anyway, but so I'm like, so what is it? Just, have integrity, be true to your word, and don't take things. And I tell you what, I mean, when you implement these things and you kind of put them into your focus, I don't know, and I think it's timing, like we hear things. I don't know. It was powerful to be, and I think it could be for so many other people. I don't know. If you haven't read it, it's such a short read. Anyway, highly recommend it. So
yeah, I mean, I did say something similar to that in my book. There's no such thing as a bad kid. It was titled that because that's what I heard at 12 years old. But I live by 3 rules.
Us.
Well, I just live by 3 rules, and my family does too. The first one is to love and respect everybody you come in contact with. You may not like some of them, you may not agree with them, but you love them and you respect them. Rule number 2 is don't use the word can't in our home or in my presence. I was told my entire life what can't be done, and then it was proved to be a lie. And then if I say that I believe in God and I believe in the Bible, and the Bible says that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us, I've very rarely seen in the Bible where it says what you can't do. And so if I'm saying I'm a man of faith and that I believe in that faith, then I need to walk that faith and I need to act in that faith. And the third one is do your best, be your best. Because your best may be 30% one day, it may be a C on the test one day. But as long as you gave your best, you or anybody around you can never be disappointed.
And I think it can release that self-judgment that we put on ourselves so much too. And we're our own worst critics sometimes, right? We could have done more, we could have done better. And so for me, that was huge. And because life is short. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. It balance and having, I don't know. It's not all about how, my poor fingers are typing, 15 hours a day for the last 10 years. It's like, I've got to stop taking that for granted, and just, I don't know. Well, congratulations on your Humanitarian Award. Tell me about that. So that's a big deal.
Yeah. So this is the second year in a row I've been a finalist for the Muhammad Ali Sports Humanitarian of the Year, which is, obviously put on by ESPN and the ESPY Awards. I've been very fortunate to have some great partners that have helped me do a lot of work and invest in my vision of what I think transformational change is. I'm not really big on transactional change. I mean, I think anybody can do holiday baskets or gifts, but it's what you do year round and how you position families. My life was changed by transformational work, not only just having glasses and having educational resources, but having people in place that could help me along the way. And that's what my foundation is about. We're about giving and presenting families with resources, moments, and experiences that help them become a better person overall. Yes, we will give out 30,000 backpacks this year at our back to school bash at Raymond James Stadium. We've done it the last 4 years. We will give out, close to 50,000 gifts to families in need. But the gift is just a carrot. The backpack is just a carrot. It's everything else that goes along with it. These kids need eyeglasses. They need physicals. Right. They need dental exams and extractions and all the stuff that I didn't have as a kid.
Right.
They get all that stuff for free.
That so many take for granted, right?
Yeah, and then there are people around that follow up. There are resources out there that, hey, this is a step 1, and then step 2, and then step 3, step 4, step 5, and then once you start taking steps in the right direction, your life changes.
I always say just take a step. I mean, every step leads to another step. I mean, you don't have to see the whole staircase, right? Like Martin Luther King, you just take a step. And then, before you know it, pieces of a puzzle come together. And I don't know, and just believing in yourself, right? And that you could be impactful and you could make a difference. One person can create change in waves, ripples, that then lead to so much more. So going back, where did the WWE come in? Like, how did that? Like, I am not anyway. I don't do anything but work, so I don't know anything.
Yeah.
But when did that start, or what did you do? Did you go to school or tell me about?
Yeah, so one
go
of my
back to the
best
camp
friends
then,
is,
or maybe from leaving.
Yeah. One of my best friends is Dave Bautista. He's a movie star now. Him and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson are both former WWE superstars that turned into actors. They both encouraged me to at least give wrestling a try, and I had no intention on doing so. I was actually,
So you knew them prior?
Yes.
Okay.
And so...
so how did you meet them before? Were you in?
Well, Dave was my neighbor.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, he was my neighbor when I first moved to Tampa, and we became fast friends. And Dwayne, obviously, he played at Miami. I played at Florida. We had a lot of mutual friends. And
okay, well, so let's go back. So after the camp, so you stayed, right? And then he gave you another shot. So how did he believed in you? And then
Yeah, I went from being an underperforming student. I was 12 years old when I had that conversation. I went from being an underperforming student to being one of the valedictorians in my class in high school. I'm the first person in my family to graduate from high school. I was the #1 recruit in the country to play football, and I could have went to any university in the world, and I chose the University of Florida. Go Gators. And won a national championship there, 2 SEC championships. I graduated undergrad in 3 years and got my master's my 4th year.
And playing football?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I was the vice president of student government. I'm in the University of Florida Hall of Fame, and I actually just gave the spring commencement graduation speech last year.
Is that right?
For the University of Florida. So I'm the same kid at 12 years old. I was told he'll be dead or in jail by the time he was 16. I've had an unbelievable amount of support. I've had an unbelievable amount of experiences that, I say time and time again, I could leave this earth today and knowing that I've been to every single continent, I've gone to every major city, every major country, I've performed in it, I've met kings, I've met queens, I've met presidents after presidents, and been in the graces of greatness when it comes to folks that I've met. Muhammad Ali was my hero growing up. It was him, Michael Jordan, and Martin Luther King. And I never got a chance to meet Martin Luther King, obviously, but I did get a chance to meet Muhammad Ali and Michael Jordan on several occasions. And I'm the same kid that, I wanted to go 2 places as a kid. I wanted to go to Washington, D.C., because that's where the safety patrols, the good kids, quote unquote, went every year. And my behavior never permitted me to go there. And then I wanted to go to Atlanta because I felt like that's where all the rich, wealthy black people lived at, and I wanted to see how they lived. But I've gone everywhere now. My kids have experienced places.
I filed an application for a passport yesterday. I've not been out of the country. I've gone to all the islands, like the West Indies, but back then all they needed was a birth certificate. Like I literally have been, this has been my world. So for 10 years but I applied for a passport. I don't know what made me do it, but I did it. But yeah, that's amazing. The guy at 12 that said that to you. Are you still in contact with him?
He passed away. He passed away my sophomore year in college. But he got a chance to watch me graduate from high school, and he was there when I signed my letter of intent to go to college. And
I love those kind of stories. Those are those triggers that I'm talking about, like that just set us on a path that catapulted you then to accomplishing what, and then trying to inspire everyone else along the way.
Well, sometimes I think people don't realize that, like, you don't have to try to inspire people. Like, that's not my goal every single day. My goal has never been to inspire anyone. My goal is to get up every single day with a heart of gratitude and understanding that, you know, God placed me on this earth to do great things. There was a time where I was told that I was less than. There was a time that I was told that I would never be. And I know for a fact that because of things that I've done over my lifetime, that there have been numerous people that have had that same conversation or had those same words uttered to them. And some of them were driven by it, some of them have failed because of it. But at the end of the day, my goal every single day to get up is to repay the people that invested in the places like the Boys and Girls Club, the Florida Sheriff's Boys Ranch, that were safe places for me. Some of them I'll never meet.
Yeah.
Some of them I don't know their names. A lot of them I don't know what they did. I just know that there was a situation that prevented me from being a statistic in a negative sense. And so every day I get up, I'm grateful for that, you know, and if what I do for others inspires others to do for others,
Yeah, hopefully.
or motivates other people to do that, so be it. If it doesn't, I can lay down on my bed every single day knowing that I got up this morning with the same intention that I got up with yesterday and the day before. And if it inspires somebody, great. If it pisses somebody off, great. I don't care. I'm at a point, and I have been at a point in my life for years, that I could care less about, like, what people think.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I know. I know who I am.
And how you feel. And
yeah, and you know, I tell people all the time, like, I could give a shit less about politics. Like, I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. When issues need to be solved, we're all fucking human beings.
Right. Humanity.
Yeah. And,
Overall,
and
like,
human beings from all walks of life helped get me into the position that I'm in. White woman, English lady, Mrs. Roy, in high school, never was my English teacher. Gay, in Live Oak, small town. She might as well just been, you know, considered black in the 40s and the 50s. She could have been ostracized a long time ago. She was the first person to tell me teach me about the importance of being on time and education. I had a homeless guy at 13 years old tell me that, you know, God's going to use you in mighty ways. Homeless guy used to be at practice every single day at our practice site at high school.
Well, those are intentional messages that you receive to push you and lead you toward the path. And some hear it and then let them and follow. You know, I felt like I've had a seatbelt like strapped on, and I just go. I mean, it's been a, you know, it's a bigger purpose, but I don't know. I can deal with uncertainty. I didn't have all the answers going into it, you know, but I do.
Well, that's part of for me, that's part of the joy. Like I
believing tomorrow could be even better than yesterday. I mean, believing your better days.
Some people can believe whatever they want to believe, but if it's not really within your wheelhouse, you know, it don't matter what you believe. You know, it really has to be some divine intervention. It has to be some hard work. It needs to be some preparation. It needs to be within your purpose. We have so many people trying to operate outside of their purpose, and then they end up being miserable 5, 6, 7 years later or 10 years later, and regretting the fact that they put so much time and so much energy into something that they thought because it was a dream that they believed in, but not really understanding that it takes more than just a dream. It has to do with your purpose. Once you recognize what your purpose is, and because dreams are like goals to me, you know, like I don't set goals. I've never looked to be successful. I've always looked to be excellent, because once I started realizing that success can come to anybody at any given day. And some people don't earn that success.
Well, and everyone has a different definition.
And everybody has a different definition. And then it's like, okay, I got a goal. You have a goal. Like, we want to sell 100,000 copies of Edge magazine. All right. What happens after you make that?
Well, see, that's why I suggest that people build a business around a purpose. I mean, it's not about selling that. It's about providing the content. If I can sell and make money at what I'm doing, then great.
Well,
but it was never about the money. But no, it's a great example. I get it. Yeah, I agree 100%.
When you have a level of excellence, it's
then
just
what?
like, I don't have expectations. I don't expect people to do anything.
Yeah. no desire, letting go of desired outcomes.
Yeah, I have standards, all right? Here's my standard, and I'm not gonna say that everybody can live up to it, no different than I can live up to everybody else's standard. I don't put expectations on a lot of people because, you know, there's always something that can come up. But if you have a standard, your standard's not gonna change no matter who the individual is. Your standard's gonna be the same. All right, cool, you can't make it, it's all right. We got 5 other people over here to do it. So when I'm doing work and things like that, initially when I was always concerned about, like, you know, I don't wanna take nobody off and then they not donate to the cause and this and that. It's like, look, this is the vision that I have. I know that God's gonna bring it into fruition because he wouldn't have put it on my heart and he wouldn't have set up certain things.
What God will take you to, he will bring you through. It's, it's on me.
Yeah, and so at first people thought it was a level of arrogance, but it's not. It's like, all right, whether you help me or not, it's going to get done.
Right.
And I just, you know, if you're on the sideline, cool. If you're in the stands, cool. If you're on the field with us, cool. I'm going to be fine no matter what.
Right.
You know, because the work is going to get done.
Yeah.
And I have that same approach in everything that I do in life. My kids, same way. My approach with them is whatever you guys want to do, I will support you as long as you're willing to understand that there's going to be some failures, things like that. Like if you play a sport, there's no quitting. You know, I don't care how bad the season's going, whatever it may be.
If you make the commitment, you follow through.
You finish out the season, and then you reevaluate at the end of the year. Yeah. We have so many people in our world that are both powerful and impoverished at the same time, meaning they have so much in them and for them, but they don't believe it, they don't understand it, and that's not a crime. The crime is not recognize the fact that, look, I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. But there, you know, don't be above asking somebody else for a solution. Don't be above asking somebody that may not even be in your field for help.
Yeah, it's just crazy all the different terms you use. That's why I said you must be a tourist. But even like, you know, anyway, it's just kind of funny. You could just run my show for me, really. And you could just talk because these say all the words that I say. It's just crazy. No, it's, yeah, that's funny. There's similar ways of thinking, you know, and I think it's funny that I've had quite a few Tauruses on, and it's just like I can tell immediately. I'm the 4th of May. So when are you?
I'm April 29th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so that's so funny. But yeah, I totally agree with everything that you're saying.
What's your why? You asking me all, you know.
Well, say, wait a minute, I'm supposed to answer the questions. Yeah. But I do talk a lot anyway through the show. But, you know, my why is, you know, it kind of started because I was told not to dream, you know, as a child. And, that's what you said. I don't have all the answers. And it's so funny. I say that all the time. And people are like, people don't say that. I'm like, why not? I don't have them all. I mean, don't expect me to. In fact, the more that I learn and know, the more I read and, you know, discover things, the more I realize I don't know. And, you know, I'm just like yearning for more. But my why, you know, originally started on this crusade to empower or be a voice, an advocate in a sense for crazy people like me. I have joked for a decade now that I've been this crazy person on a mission, and I embrace the crazy because it's not normal. I mean, maybe, but who's to say what's normal anyway? But just to be, I want people to dream. I want people, you know, ultimately, what is the opposite of, I mean, what's the alternative once you stop dreaming? And just to, you know, touch on what you said as far as people saying, just get over it, or, you know, even with depression or anything people go on mentally, when other people can't see it and maybe they haven't experienced what they've gone through, you know, we can very easily say, well, snap out of it, get out of it. And I don't think until you truly go through so many experiences on your own, you can't relate truly to other people. So anyway, I was in real estate forever, and being a young mom, and was married young, and then I sold, you know, I wanted to be an attorney. That changed and ended up selling real estate forever, and I was a broker associate, thought I'd have Kelly and Company, and I enjoyed real estate, but I've always been a little annoyingly intuitive, and I knew that I was off path somewhere. I mean, I had, been married forever, and I had two beautiful children, and I have a son and daughter who now are 31 and 21. But I was off path. I knew it. And as the market started to crash, and I wasn't happy in the marriage, and it was just an opportunity for me to start over. I mean, and for him too. Both of us were young enough that we could still have a life and live. And not that that was my goal, because there were quite a few girlfriends at the time, but of course that was in my more material. I think we all go through that stage, until we have it, and then we have it, and it was all about my BMWs and my Cadillac and the Prada bags that I carried. And when all that is gone and you're still standing, because really through the real estate crash, I decided to go, and it was like rolling the dice, and the girls were like, because I'm so private, nobody even knew we had problems. So then they're like, what? And, but they're like, well, why would you want to start over now? You're going to be 40 in a couple years. And I just thought, you crazy people, what do you think I'm going to start over? I want to find me. I want to finally be selfish and not being, especially after being married my whole life and taking care of everybody else. I want my time. I want to focus on what is in my heart and where I'm supposed to be. And nobody in my life to that point had encouraged me to do so. In fact, they had all, and my father was an alcoholic and a drug guy. I hadn't even seen him since I was, I almost died. I had a histoplasmosis, this lung disease, and spent this time in a coma, and he was there when I came out of that. Last time I saw him. But yeah, see, it's so funny. But it's, I realized too, after losing everything and letting everything go from the real estate crash, and then deciding, if I'm gonna be broke and start over, I can do this. That just sealed the deal. And you don't want to break up families, but you also don't want to. Again, I always felt like it was beyond me. It was something bigger, and nobody understood that. So literally, I realize now, the last 10 to 12 years, had I not gone through it, I would not be who I am today. And literally, I have moved and lived in temporary housing. My poor daughter, she didn't ask for any of this. It wasn't her dream, and it wasn't about the money. So I took, it was harder probably, but I had a dream, and the dream was just to live towards what my truth was. And I didn't know what all was in the plans. I just knew I had to do the work to be where I was supposed to be.
So you said a lot. You still haven't told me your why.
I want people to dream. I want to show people, I think too often we are blinded by society and spouses and friends and life. And I believe that when we are born, that we know at that time pretty much our ultimate purpose, and what God expects of us, what we're supposed to do. And ultimately, I believe that our whole life mission is to lead us towards the betterment of humanity, in a sense, and to find our way back home. And through that time, but you have all these tests and all these things, and and families, and like I said, I know that I think too often our families put all of their beliefs and restrictions onto us, or spouses, especially being married young, but those aren't ours. And often I think, especially if you're well, I don't know if empathic is the right word, because it develops. But anyway, I think sometimes too you can take energies on and other people, and you get confused on what's yours and what's not, especially I think for people that can feel that kind of thing. So anyway, it's until you can really find your way on your own. But I never had the savings. I had limited child support or any help. I didn't have the resources. I was at bottom. So from there, you can only go up. And my mantra every day was, what I'm going through today will just help me appreciate what's to come that much more. And literally, I said that over and over and over in my head. But we all have a year. And I think that was 2008-ish, 9-ish, when I started heading out after the real estate crash. And everything was okay initially, and then 2012 hits, and we all have a story of that year that tries to take us down. But that was the year that at that point, I dabbled in the darkness for about 3 weeks, to where, I was trying to get my mom had just been diagnosed with lymphoma, the dog died. It was just one blow after another. But anyway, long story, but when I think you get to a certain point, and once you overcome and continue to believe, there was a Bible verse I heard the other day, and it said, blessed is she that believes with all her heart, and knowing what the Lord tells her, and just what the point that we moved to in our, mentally once you're there. But ultimately it starts with believing in you and believing in yourself. And that is what my mission in life is. If I can just plant a seed of hope that maybe indeed you do have a bigger purpose. I want to help people. I'm a champion for people's greatness. I want to help them. I want to lead them to their light, their truth, their life that they were intended to live.
Where do you feel like in your immediate family, so whether it's your kids, your mom, your dad?
Everybody's gone.
Right. So,
but I mean, my children are amazing.
Yeah, even with them being gone, how do you feel like, because like to me, I can't change the world if I'm not changing my world immediately.
Man in the mirror.
My kids, for me, it all starts with my sons. I can't go out and help another person's kid or be great and this and that if, number one, I'm not doing everything I can to be great. And we all come short of our greatness and our expectations sometimes of ourselves and of others.
Well, that goes back to just doing your best. Like I said, we're our own worst critics.
But when you think about this platform that you've formed over the last 10 years, you think about writing a book, you think about the countless conversations you've had over 100 episodes, etc. Like, how do you feel that has impacted your family, your kids, your circle?
Oh, well, I mean, they know that anything is possible, and they believe in themselves, they believe in, and my daughter, and that's why I was going back to say, I felt bad because where my son grew up in the real estate world, where I was in the material stage, and I mean, he benefited, and he had so many pairs of Jordans, I can't even tell you, he had the big house, and it's just, then my daughter Jada, she grew up during, she was 8 when her dad and I split. So she grew up during the hardship and not being able to provide everything to her. And I felt bad on the sense, but I realize now, she's the one that's good with money versus my son. She's the one that has all these kind of values, although he's amazing, and he's a dad and he's married and he works for 911 dispatch. I would to dream that he would be a part of my foundation piece and stuff. But no, the kids, it's like they're 21. I mean, they're so wrapped up in their own lives, but every now and then, in fact, half the time I'm like, will you pretend like you want to listen just for a minute? Give me a minute just to talk. And, but it's funny is I don't think she's listening, but then she'll say something and it floors me. Like, oh my God, like, Mom, wow, like I can't, like even the magazine, she's like, oh my God, like what, each issue seems to get better, or just, she will never settle, and she will know that she could do anything herself. And I think we have to get to a certain point within ourselves first. I think most people just jump from one thing to another. They're always searching outward to calm or fix whatever they think is wrong, and it starts inward. And until, people then they try to, they drink and do, all these things to try to numb things. And anyway, it's just, if we would take the time and just try to go within and search for answers that are there. And anyway, it's funny that Wizard of Oz, Dorothy, slippers thing, where you had the magic or you had the power all along. I feel like that is so true. And we do. I think we just don't believe in ourselves a lot. And I don't know, I think too often we wait for all the right things to be lined up, and they're never going to be. And I don't know, I think it's that Steve Jobs quote, the ones that are crazy enough to believe that they can change the world are the ones that do it. In my point of view right now, humanity is off track, and bad outweighs good right now, in my opinion. And I want to see our leadership styles remain the same. Back in the day, leaders didn't show vulnerability. They led with fear or other ways to keep people down. And I see them doing that again. And I don't want that to be okay. We don't go back. Lionel Richie has this song, The Rhythm. And wow, it's powerful. And he's like, why does each generation have to redo the same thing over and over again? Like, why? I mean, why do we do this? And I don't know. I just think we're off track. And that is part of my path at some point as we go forward. I'll elaborate on that a little more in the next 2 weeks as I finally am done with this thing, and with what I'm supposed to do with it. Because there's a piece to it that it's, and since we're on this spirituality and God conversation, that's what this whole event happened. After you dedicate 10 years to finding answers, as things start to develop and your discovery intensifies and all these things start happening, that even other people around you are noticing because, anyway, you listen, and, anyway, you can't plan that kind of stuff. It's miraculous. When things happen, it's supposed to happen. And anyway, I hope that story, which could have just been a big dream, that's how I wrote it, but I think it will take you back to the last moment in your memory of when you held hope in your heart. And I hope that at that moment, it neutralizes you in a sense to believe that maybe, or if you're just thinking about making a decision or going the wrong, I think too often people stay too, and these, they fear change and they just accept what, I don't know, and reason seasons lifetime, and I say that all the time, but a lot of people don't get that. They fight to hold on to the same because they don't want change. I don't know, or they don't think, or they're too old, or they don't think tomorrow holds a better day, or I can be a better version of me tomorrow. I think we can always strive to be the best version of ourselves. That's probably my goal every day when I wake up, is just to be the best I can be today, and if I can make somebody smile during the day, then great. Then I think that's my purpose and path. And so back to you. So, wow, so you got a big backpack thing coming up, August 7th?
Yes, back to school bash, yes.
So how did they sign up, or so Lions Eye Institute, like I said, that's such a great collaborative.
Yeah, Lions Eye Institute and the Glacier Foundation, Vision Foundation. We've partnered for 4 years now, and that was one of the main elements that I wanted involved in the back to school bash. It was bigger than just bags and school supplies. I wanted the kids to be able to get free haircuts. I wanted them to be able to go get physicals. These families couldn't afford those things. All the things that I couldn't afford as a kid, because I was a kid that grew up in poverty, and those that were around me did the same. I wanted to be able to at least have those resources at the back to school bash, and put it in an environment where everybody felt safe to come. And we had about 22,000 the first year. The next year we had about 29,000. And
that's great.
Last year we did it virtually, and this year I expect about 50,000 because we're going to bring Flo Rida in as well. And we're going to give out 30,000 backpacks and still provide all those services. Yeah. Advent Health has been amazing. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been amazing. The Tampa Bay Lightning, Skanska, construction, Heritage Insurance, like the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
Kids
they want to be
Foundation.
involved.
Yeah. And so it's definitely made my vision, which has always been big, a reality. But when you look out amongst a sea of thousands of people, that are, whether they're volunteers or whether they're vendors that are feeding people, and this is a 100% free event, and you see all these people out there and you have zero issues, and you see people from all walks of life coming in to the stadium to serve or to be served. And yes, it's hot, and it's, and it's at Raymond James Stadium, and some people have a hard time getting there. I've always, over the last few years, worked it out with heart where transportation is free for the day for those that didn't have adequate transportation. And it's August 7th at Raymond James Stadium, 9:01 a.m. to 1:01 p.m. The 1 signifies unity.
I love it.
And everybody else starts their thing on the 0. And for us, I always want to be different in every way possible. And so it's a talking point. As soon as you see the flyer, you say, 9:01, is that a typo? Yeah. No, it's not a typo. It's very intentional, because the work that we're going to be doing and that we are doing is very intentional. And sometimes it only catches people's attention when it's different. And it's definitely different, but it's very fun. And I'm glad to have the circle of people that I have in my Rolodex to be able to call up and say, hey, Flo, I'm doing my back to school bash. Can you come up, for that? Or Low Cash or Brett Michaels or whoever. and they all, jump at the bit to try to rework their schedule if they can to make it happen,
Right.
because they understand that, what I'm doing is transformational. And
Right.
that's,
And they want to feel that and be a
Yeah.
part of that energy. Yeah, it's because it's transferable. I mean, it's probably an honor for them to be included and to be a part of that massive energy, kind of like I said, release. So I have a question. Like being a big guy, right? But yet we're all just human, right? But when you are a big guy, right, and people see you a certain kind of way, I think they would like almost expect you to be a certain kind of way or something. And but at the end of the day, we're all just human, right? So you think like I think. I mean, not that we think alike, but you know what I mean. Ultimately, we have the same concerns, the same needs. I would think that would be difficult, like in a sense, like to be yourself, like sometimes where people like think you're supposed to be this character or this persona or this, and at the end of the day, I mean, we're all just fighting to be the individuals that we are. We're just, and I think ultimately we're the same size. Right? I mean, but you appear bigger, so people treat you that. Does that make any sense? What I'm saying?
no, I understand what you're saying. I just think,
Is that something you deal with, or?
no, because I'm the same dude on
Right.
TV as I am. I mean, I just do it differently, but
Well, I mean, too, just being, I don't know. I mean, when you've got people that see you, or you're out, or I don't know, like they put you on a certain. But like you said, maybe you're just you, and you're always you, and.
yeah, I know whether I was on television or not, there are certain things that I just, as a man, I present myself a certain way. I won't disrespect other people, and I will be respected. And that doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with my celebrity. It has everything to do with me being a man.
Yeah.
I've seen women that are 5'0" nothing, 100 and nothing, command a room because they walk in there
Right.
and they have a presence, and people have an understanding right out of the gate. Oh shit, this person means business.
Right. Or she's got something to say. Or
yeah.
I mean, I could, it's.
But it's sometimes you gotta exert that will onto someone, and right out of the gate, and then sometimes it's pretty. I mean, some people are intimidated by the size, and then they have a conversation with, oh, that guy's really cool, this and that, how easy to talk to, this and that, and I am. But if I'm sitting down and eating with my family, I don't want to sit up and take pictures and sign autographs all the time. I'm there to eat with my family. If I'm going to a movie, I want the same respect that you would give any other normal person that you don't know. You wouldn't go over to somebody and tap them and say, hey, do you mind taking a picture with my kid?
Yeah, I think you do get to a certain point that you almost give that up, in a sense, with some of the levels, I guess, that some would get
I mean,
to.
the thing of it is like some people are like, oh, well, we met a Bucks player and he was such and such, or we had a Lightning player and such. Yeah, but you're talking about a local celebrity. Like, I'm a global figure. When I go to China, there are kids and adults at the airport with my action figure.
Wow.
When I go to Saudi Arabia, there are kids and adults.
You have an action figure?
I have probably about 12 now, but
Did you bring one?
no, I wasn't under the impression that you would even want
I
one.
didn't know you had one.
I know, you probably should do your research more.
Well, I like to not.
You're a journalist.
Yeah, well, no, I like to ask the questions and form
Yeah.
all of my things while I'm talking to you.
Gotcha.
Actually, what we request, my office, that is to use for the promo, like when we do the shows, but I don't look at it prior to, because I don't want to know anything. I mean, a lot of people I know, but this was an opportunity where I didn't know you. I think we'd met six years ago because I'd looked it up, but I couldn't believe time just goes so fast. And that was with Rob Canton, a great individual, with Athletes and Causes. Okay, so before we run out of time, definition of success. What is your definition of success today?
It varies to everyone.
Today.
My definition of success for me is being able to.
I say today because it could change tomorrow, but
My definition of success is to wake up every single morning healthy and happy, and able to do something that makes my life better and makes those around my life better.
yeah, it's good.
It's not based on a financial goal. It's not based on me lifting X amount of pounds or driving X kind of car. It's really about me being able to get up. That's the first blessing, is to be able to open my eyes, because there are a lot of people that don't get that same opportunity on a daily basis. Do something that's going to make me a better individual, and ultimately make those around me a better people. And
Did you ever see The Bronx Tale? I was just talking about this with Real Law on the show. Bronx Tale with, I remember, Danny, I almost had it, Robert De Niro. Anyway, but it's about, he's like the bus driver, and then the kid that grows up in the Bronx, obviously, but wasted talent. Like he always was like on the kid about, that was his thing, wasted talent. No, you don't waste your talent, and it was like, it's a shame, so much wasted talent. He would see these bums on the street, wasted talent or whatever, but that, stuck in that kid's head, and it was always, like wasted talent, it's anyway, but yeah, use your talents, right? Yeah. And God's gifts that He gave you.
Your time, your talents, and your resources. If you can do those three things, you'll be a lot happier, you'll be a lot healthier, and you'll be a lot more, in my opinion, what's the most important thing is not success, it's significance. There are a lot of very successful and wealthy people that have lived and walked on this earth that have been very insignificant when it really comes down to.
That's like Maya Angelou. She said it's not so much like, what you say to people or whatever, it's how you make them feel. Yeah, it's all about that. That's significance, yeah. Very cool. I think like we could talk for hours, like just about a lot of, it really, I don't know, like there's quite a few Tauruses like we've connected, but like, I don't know, between all of the different sayings, it just, I don't know, we have very similar mantras. It's a little eerie, funny, I don't know, kind of funny. But thank you for finally coming on and gracing us. And next time, I need an action figure or something, okay?
We'll see. We'll see if it can work out.
Surely, right? You got a ton stashed around somewhere, I would think.
I don't.
No?
I don't. No? Yeah, I try not to, because then more people will ask for action figures.
Oh, is that what? Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you again for being here. Thank you so much for being with us each week as we share stories and try to spread enthusiasm and just believe in yourself. And until next time, never stop dreaming. We'll see you soon.